Welcome in our first post-game dispatch here at Soccer Down Here. It's the alternative version of the full-time report. It's a different universe. It has to have a different name. I'm Jason Longshore, joined by Mike Conti, breaking down what we saw today. Atlanta United, 2 games, kind of. 160 minutes in total, 2 40-minute halves. 80 minutes against Cal State Fullerton, 80 minutes against Xolos, mostly U20, some first choice. U20 with a 39-year-old goalkeeper. And Kubo Torres, who I'd forgotten about that was at Tijuana, to be honest. It was an interesting day. It was a great day on the scoreboard. 7-1 in total in the 2 games for Atlanta United. What might surprise you today?
A little surprised to see him in a 3-4-3. I know we'll get into that. I think in general this was a very good day for the Five Stripes. It doesn't come as a surprise to me, but it comes as a comfort to me just seeing how well Barco played today in 80 minutes of just outstanding facilitating, some filthy dribbling. Really very happy to see that because he's going to be so pivotal this year with Almiron gone. That's the first time I've seen Pity Martinez play, outside of the highlights from when he was with River, and it's just he is everything you can imagine and more. And you just hope that they can keep this group healthy, that they can navigate all this match congestion that they're going to have, because in 11 minutes, when Pity was playing at full speed for 11 minutes. He looked like he was going to be the best player in MLS, one of the best players in the world. Now, again, you take it with a grain of salt because you have to keep in mind the level of competition. But everyone that I wanted to see really flash today flashed in a big way. And not to mention Joseph scoring 4 goals.
Yeah, it was an interesting day. I thought Xolos got a little frustrated as the day went on.
But good. I mean, I think that chippiness is going to make you a little bit more prepared for what's to come in 2 weeks in Costa Rica. So I had no problem with that.
Yeah, definitely no problem with that. I liked how Atlanta handled it. I think a player that we haven't mentioned that will definitely get lost in the shuffle because of the scoreline is Miles Robinson. Robinson in the 3-4-3 that Atlanta played, and both teams played the same formation. They did it a little bit differently because of the personalities on the field, but you saw some common threads. I thought it was really interesting to see in the 80 minutes against Cal State Fullerton, Kendall Edwards, an academy player, play in the middle of the 3. And with the first team, Miles Robinson play in the middle of Michael Parkhurst and Leandro Gonzalez-Perez. We had never seen him in that role with those 2 before. He had played in the middle of a back 3 a few times with ATL UTD2 last season, but this is different. The 3-4-3 and the way the 3 backs function because of the overall shape is very different than the 3-5-2. The responsibilities are different. Miles is not exactly organizing in the same way that Parkhurst did last year in a 3-5-2. This is going to be something that, honestly, I'll have to go back and look. I don't think an MLS team has played a 3-4-3 on a regular basis in league history. The 4-3-3 has kind of come into vogue, and teams approach it differently. Sometimes it's a very defensive 4-3-3. The 4-2-3-1 is pretty much the same thing with the wingers just dropped in a little bit. You see some teams play a 4-1-2-3. Everybody has different ways of doing it. 3-4-3, pretty unique, and it was really impressive to see both groups play it for Atlanta United.
At times it kind of played like a 5-2-3 as well. Didn't it? Where you had
that, and at times it played like a 3-2-5.
Right, yeah. So I found it interesting. Breck Shea starting at left wing back, and I thought he had a good game, by the way.
He's made for that role.
Yeah, some people were really getting on him on social. I don't understand that. I thought he played pretty well. Gressel is the right wing back. Obviously. Yeah. That's a perfect fit for him. George Bello playing center back in the first match.
And Mikey Ambrose, too.
And Mikey Ambrose. But has Bello ever played center back before?
Not that I'm aware of, and same with Mikey. Yeah. And it really, first half, Mikey played on the left side of the 3. Second half, he played on the right. Definitely more comfortable on the left. He's left-footed. It's obvious. But I thought it was interesting to see guys on their off foot a good bit. Gordon Wild playing on the right side as a right wing back. Not something we expected to see coming in. John Gallagher playing as a right center back in the first half. Looked pretty good there. The thing that I think is maybe even accentuated more with Frank DeBoer than it was with Tata Martino is players who can play with the ball at their feet and are comfortable in possession are going to be prioritized. We do have a little more size this year in this team, but it's about being able to retain the ball. And that's the number one priority. And if that means Mikey Ambrose is playing as a center back, that's what it means. Right. Because we saw how effective it was at times with his delivery passing. And he's a smart enough defender that he can handle the size issues.
Yeah, now it was also a preseason match that the technical staff knew would be streamed.
Right.
So they could have been throwing a red herring out at all of us. They could have just been experimenting with some things. I mean, we don't know for sure. But it was a 3-4-3 today, and that was a surprise. Other things that weren't necessarily surprises, but really like to see. I thought Kendall Edwards absolutely looked like he belonged as a 17-year-old, playing very maturely as a center back.
Best play for him was late, too.
Yeah.
That play in about the 74th, 75th minute, dead tired because you saw him about keel over afterwards.
Right.
But he outruns the attacker, shields him off, wins it. Just very composed.
I thought Andrew Carlton played very well today.
Agree.
Very, very encouraging to see that. Really, I liked everyone in that second group, second choice group.
Right.
First guys out today. Romario Williams could have had a double brace easily. I mean, the Cal State Fullerton keeper did a really, really nice job. That's very encouraging because Romario is going to play a lot this year.
Yeah.
He didn't show any signs of ill health or slowness or lack of match fitness, which was a very, very important thing. Now, when we talked to him in December, he made it sound like he was pretty much good to go back then. But now I guess we have the confirmation. So I thought in general it was a really good day. You can't take any negatives out of this. You do have to temper the positive somewhat because you're playing a U20 Liga MX club and you're playing an NCAA team. And Sounders, what you did to them on Saturday, you're playing in poor weather and you played a mixed lineup. The LAFC match coming up might be our best indication of where they truly are because I would not be shocked after the LAFC match if you really start to throttle down and start looking ahead to Herediano, which by that point will only be 10 or 11 days away.
Yeah, see, I'm actually leaning a little more to you keep the pedal down in both of these because you'll finish the Galaxy match with, a little more than a week before the Herediano match. You want to get on that normal routine, especially the way the season kicks off with a game on the 21st, game on the 28th. Then you're getting in potentially, if you get through Herediano, you're getting into a situation where it's in D.C., then Monterey, either home or away, then back in Atlanta for Cincinnati, then Monterey again, and you want to be in a rhythm. Mm-hmm. We saw last year, and honestly in 17 as well, how important rhythm was to this group. As a even more possession-focused team, the rhythm is going to be so critical. Would not surprise me a bit to see a lot of the first-choice guys against LAFC and against the Galaxy. And both those games are closed doors. We won't exactly know how it goes down. It also wouldn't surprise me a bit to see maybe some other scrimmages lined up, like we saw Cal State Fullerton today. That was really valuable to have that 80 minutes for those guys because, again, getting into rhythm, when you get into those games – you're going to need a Romario Williams to come in and spell. You're going to need a Mikey Ambrose to come in and play. You're going to need those guys.
Yeah, and I mean, we certainly saw moments today that cannot be replicated in anything other than a scrimmage against another team. That's why even the few mistakes that we did see, the few times where Atlanta United may have been a little bit dodgy, say in transition defense, that's something you can't really replicate in anything other than a scrimmage. So that's where what has happened over the last couple of days and what is to come is extremely useful. The only thing that gives me a little bit of pause is you had a lot of hard fouls in the Xolos match. Yeah. It's a CONCACAF style match.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, like I said. But, I mean, boy, when you saw Joseph take that knock, you're like, please, we don't need that right now. Barco got hit hard. Really got kicked hard. Like 55, 60 minutes into it.
I think the fourth time he had embarrassed somebody, yes.
Yeah, I mean, Tijuana had 3 yellow cards. So that's where I just get a little bit nervous. Like, the last thing you want is to get a guy hurt in a preseason match, especially late, because it really is going to be all hands on deck for the first really month of the season. You're going to need everyone. So that's I'm a conservative guy when it comes to that, but that's all I'm really coming from on there.
Yeah, and don't forget, ATL UTD2 starts March 9th as well, so you're going to see some of these guys play there too. You're going to need to fill that roster. So this is going to be really all hands on deck in the early going.
One more player we have to mention before we go is Dion Pereira.
Yes.
And I feel like we're talking more about the Cal State match than the Xolos match, but I feel like we learned a little bit more from the Cal State match. Dion Pereira is really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good. And he's going to be, I have to think he's going to be a part of the first team this year. I mean, you wouldn't bring him over from Watford if you didn't have some bold plans for him. He would take an international spot. Yeah. So, I mean, that is something to keep in mind. Amir Bashti, Anderson Asedu have done nothing to hurt their causes to get pro contracts.
I really loved Bashti's work. It wasn't always refined and as high quality as you would want, but he kept battling.
Yeah.
There's a place for that, and I think you can develop some of the rougher points of his game. I, just from today, would not surprise me at all to see him sign an ATL UTD2 contract and keep him in the system and keep him in this mix. Seidu's a tough one.
Yeah.
I could see him either way. I think if he signs a first-team deal, he's going to play the majority of his minutes with the second team. But he could earn an MLS contract.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's good enough to play for the first team right now.
I do too.
I mean, we saw evidence of that today. We certainly saw evidence of that at the scouting combine. Might go down as the steal of the draft. So
absolutely.
But you want to see more.
Yeah.
You want to see more from Amir Bashti. You want to see more from Dion Pereira. They have done nothing to hurt themselves so far, but that's where you do hope you can line up another scrimmage or two, maybe even when they get back to Atlanta, where they can really refine it a little bit more. And you might even see them against Red Wolves when ATL UTD2
that's a good point. You do have some Atlanta United 2 preseason matches that they'll be playing. The group that has stayed back in Atlanta plays Clemson on Saturday. You won't see the guys there, but once they get back to Atlanta, the Chattanooga Red Wolves friendly coming up that is open to the public with Atlanta United 2. That would make a lot of sense for Abashti and Asedu to go up there and get minutes there.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be the Saturday after the Costa Rica match. You're not going to see them against Herediano, you wouldn't expect, unless there's a lot of injuries that we're not seeing yet. I think you're going to see those guys with ATL UTD2 in that preseason friendly. The one thing I would say, definitely keep the expectations in check. They looked really good. I think both units looked really good. They looked like they understand the differences in what Frank DeBoer is asking from them as opposed to Tata Martino. I thought that might take a little more time. Today was really good. It looks like they're maybe a little ahead of schedule in that.
Well, they're a million times better now than they were at this time last year.
Absolutely.
Last year, they were really not cohesive in the preseason. They really did not do all that well in Charleston. On a really sloppy pitch in Nashville, they won 3-1. I don't even think they really looked super great there.
No.
They are way ahead of where they were this time last year. I'd much rather be 12-2 or 13-2 on goals in preseason than 2-13.
Yeah,
so, I mean, these are all good, but absolutely take this with a grain of salt. I think the LAFC friendly, I think it's on Saturday.
Yes.
That's going to really be the best barometer we'll get so far because everything points to both clubs going first choice. LAFC, one of the favorite teams in the West. Atlanta United, obviously defending champion. That's going to be the barometer. You beat LAFC 7-1 with both teams going first choice and going all out. Yeah, then we can get excited.
Yeah, I think the one thing to keep in mind, and we saw it happen a few times today, go back to what Darren Neal said from day one. He wants a team that's going to win games 4-3 as opposed to 1-0. That's exactly what you have right now. You have a team that is going to play very open, very freewheeling, and when you play that open, a turnover can hurt you. What I really liked was as both games went on, as both groups got comfortable, both teams dealt with that transition play better as the 80 minutes went on for both of them. And that's something where you will see a turnover from a player trying to make something happen in a bad spot, and the opposition is going to score goals. That will happen. But this team has so much firepower. They're willing to make that trade-off, and they're willing to play a style that I honestly don't know if we've ever seen a team with this much firepower and this much of a willingness to just go for it. as Atlanta United. I don't know if we've seen a team like this in this country before.
Yeah. You want to get the fitness on point, though. I do think things really slowed down in the final period today. Like I said, like Pitti went out, played a wild 11 minutes, just crazy. Then I think he was running at maybe like 60%. That's not an indictment on his
No,
fitness.
not at all.
That
Not
might
at
be
all.
by design, but again, things we're looking for. You want to see evidence of a full match fitness because you're going to have to play a full 90 in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and something to keep in mind with that main group who played against Xolos, Tito Villalba played 40 minutes against Cal State Fullerton and 40 against Xolos. Only Pitti played 40. Everybody else played 80 in that. So that was
Guzan
good.
Was the other
Oh, yeah, right. And I think he's okay.
Yeah.
So he didn't really have a whole lot to do.
Right.
But yeah, it's a situation where when you can control possession, you can up the tempo of the match, and you can also slow it down as you need to. And being able to make those decisions on when to put your foot on the gas and when to hit the brake is going to be big for this team. Dion Pereira, Pitti, Barco all showed an ability to change gears. And that's something that's vital in a team that plays this way. That's why I'm with you. I think Pereira will be a player we'll see in the first team. I don't know how much, just because of the sheer amount of talent. And that's a great problem to have.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun. Thanks everybody for watching and listening and interacting with us on Twitter and on Reddit and on Facebook as well. Everybody was commenting all afternoon. It was a lot of fun. We'll be doing more of these as we get on the road, either pre or post or what have you. We'll come up with alternative names as we go. But thanks everybody for listening. Talk to you guys tomorrow morning.